strongest economy in the world. Let me say it again, in the world.
Although GDP last week was far short of expectation.
No president's had the run we've had in terms of creating jobs and bringing down inflation. It was 9% when I came to office.
Right.
9%.
People are spending more on food and groceries than they have at any time really in the past 30 years. I mean, that's a real day-to-day pain.
If you take a look at what the men people have, they have the money to spend.
Well, they do.
Back in Catholic school. My teacher, Riley, last name. That was his name, Riley, last name. His first name was Baba O. That class was a teenage wasteland. I wrote a song about it. Gave it to my friend, Townsend, last name. He was in a band called Who. I'm not kidding, that's not a joke. The band was called Who. People used to say, what's the band? Who? Who? No, who? It's like that old comedy sketch that I wrote with my partner, Lou Costello.
You see urology complication as much as 41%, but some series show up to 80%. I mean, that's a lot. But the
40 to 80% complications.
We did mention on that slide is that same series of patient who had 80% complications answered to the question, would you do that over again? 100% said yes. So it tells you why.
Regret is rare.
Although haters will say differently.
Haters.
It doesn't matter to us, right?
Yeah, because you're not getting it.
We have to be open and to listen to it, of course, and to help to understand why, and then to help moving backwards with some surgical options sometimes, if we can.
SOC7, SOC8 says, think about treating kids at age 14 with hormones, unless there are significant reasons not to do that or to do it earlier. Honestly, 13 and a half, 14 is where I think many places feel comfortable to do that. It means that is an age where most experts feel comfortable that many children have the capacity to assent for treatment.
Consent.
Hit this thing.
Whoa. Welcome. Boys and girls, children of all ages, hoofties, poofties, bung-eyed heifers, right and left wing wackos, woodchucks and chuckettes, kings and queens of the Northeast Kingdom, to another version of It's News to Us. Oh, and we don't want to forget the Klingons and the Dingleberries too. And you are watching, who are we, where are we? You're watching, thanks Philo. In the booth we have Philo T. Farnsworth, College of Musical Knowledge. You can see him waving out there with the horn signal.
Texas Longhorns.
He's horn happy.
Yeah.
And you're watching It's News to Us. We're Newport's oldest TV news, which is new brown cow, as the locals say. And this is old Uncle Joe down at the White House. Get off of my lawn. Oh, he was all set to debate Trump. Oh, I can't wait to see this one, mister.
I'm not even going to bother.
Oh, I can't wait to see this one. And yeah, he's senile agitation. Get off my lawn. And we cater to men, women who think like they're men. Yeah, well, you're all inclusive here.
Wangers and paper hangers.
Yeah, carpet munchers. We're all, Philo was good enough to put in a couple clips I just got from Charlie Kirk's show. What's the name of that outfit? God almighty. Oh, well, it'll come to me. The Charlie Kirk's outfit. Anyways. But anyways, the clips, there's 3 clips by a surgeon who's talking about, who does transgender surgeries, and he admits in one of the clips that there's a 40 to 80% problem rate with the surgeries. It's not my opinion. It's his opinion. He's a surgeon. And defund the police? No, we're going to defend the cops. Is when your car's a pile of steaming hot junk slammed into a giant pine tree or a maple tree, you'll be real happy to see that first responder. And I'm ready for another 4 years of Trump, man. I want peace and prosperity with no inflation, not wars and austerity. We're done with this stuff, okay? We don't want men on women's sports teams You know, nobody asked for that. We don't want mandatory electric vehicle mandates. Nobody asked for that.
Mandatory masks and vaccines.
Yeah, and vaccines and censorship. That's what killed me, yours truly, because, you know, our whole gig here at this TV studio is free speech. You know, you can come here and put on a full Nazi regalia and do a Nazi show. You know, they might put you on at friggin' 3 a.m., but you'll get to have free speech here. And we're free speech absolutists, and to be censored. To this day, I don't get censored by Bluetooth, but I get those little suggestions, or what do they call them, underneath the picture. You know, like, oh, the election was the cleanest election ever. It was so clean you could eat off it. And democracy for sale? That's right. Just ask anyone who paid off the Biden crime syndicate. And like I said, we attack ideas, not people. Fool. You know, try it sometime.
I got a question, Steve.
Pardon me?
I got a question.
Sure.
Now, that doctor that you're showing on these clips before and after the show,
Yep.
did he say he was in favor of this gender surgery or not?
Oh, he is. He's a full-blown, yeah, he's a happy warrior.
Yeah, because now he's got a patient for life.
Yeah, I guess.
I've been wondering, when are these insurance companies going to smarten up?
I don't know, Philo. They're already, the trend in Europe is to stay away from these surgeries, or at least wait until adulthood.
Yes.
Before they do anything like that. Yeah, it's crazy. It's just crazy. What was I gonna say? Blown it. I can't remember now. And anyways, the good folks here at NEK-TV's, oh boy, here we go. I've got the John McCain throat. Excuse me.
Just hairballs, that's okay.
Yeah.
We'll get you some hairball medicine.
Yeah, call the vet.
I get that all the time myself.
Anyways, the good folks here at NEK-TV's news division. Oh, and we were censored big time by the governor of the state of Vermont. Man, they kicked me right out of the news bureau. The news bureau here at NEK-TV was kind enough to print me up this article from the California Globe about CO2 and global warming. There is no climate crisis, says a coalition of 1,600 actual scientists. In fact, there's California, it's the CaliforniaGlobe.com. There's no danger of unusual drought. The annual precipitation has fluctuated greatly over the past 150 years, with only a slight decrease. California, the Golden State, has also had record levels of air pollution that are below the threshold of human health effects. And like I was just saying, when I had moved out there, well, we first went out there in '76 for the bicentennial, and then I lived out there in San Diego, and I'd go up to LA frequently. And I find myself watching Adam 12 at night, you know, because it's filmed on the streets of LA. One, I watch it for the old cars, like that Thunderbird right there. That's what, 1960 or 59 or 60 T-Bird right there.
It's right about there, yeah.
Yeah, and I like to watch for the old cars and the streets of LA, because Lord knows I would pound the streets of LA and in the hills and in the canyons. And you could go up where the rich people lived and drive right by their houses. God help anybody who stops, as the cops would come up and give you the what for. But you could drive right by musicians' houses and movie stars. Anyways, it's below the threshold of human health effects, said James E. Enstrom, PhD. MPH has told us repeatedly for years. He's also one of the 1,600 scientists that signed onto the letter to the California Air Resources Board. Because see, some of these excuse me, some of these scientists are not being scared or bullied anymore. A lot of them are retired or semi-retired, and they don't care. Okay, their living doesn't require that they toe the line or have to go with the flow of all the other meatheads. The scientists also insist that CO2 is beneficial to the Earth. Oh, you think? You think? I mean, that's one of the first things we learned in science class in school, was that we breathe out CO2 and the trees give us, take the CO2 and give us oxygen. I mean, didn't any, what were you guys absent that day? Excuse me. The CO2 Coalition's letter is particularly timely, with Gavin Newsom taking his climate change roadshow to the Vatican later this week, where he's invited to speak with Pope Dopey Francis at a summit of mayors and governors. The summit, which will be held from May 15th to May 17th, will cover the impact of rising temperatures and local communities and climate resilience. Now, I'm for climate resilience because, let's face it, our culverts are too small, our drains are too small, our wastewater treatment plants are too small. All of this stuff should be upgraded, because everybody that I know of is all for clean air and clean water, whether you're conservative or flaming liberal.
Yeah, we see that with our dump organization here.
Oh, God.
You'll get all sorts of people from both sides of the fence.
Yeah. We have, for those of you who don't know what Philo's talking about, right up behind my shoulder here in Dumpentry. And they made a lot of money off this landfill, and they still are. And it seems like, I'm not sure, but one of the town gods, or goddesses, I should say, has absconded with a lot of that money, Philo.
I can't remember what town she was from, though. Was it Brownington or?
Coventry.
Oh, it was Coventry? Okay.
Yeah, it was Dumpentry, as we call it. There's a giant landfill up there where Fish held its farewell Fish concert.
Yes, and we take in garbage from all over.
Yeah, we're like the last landfill in friggin' New England. So anyways, the one-page summary letter begins with a link to the 16-page detailed report containing the strong evidence. I won't go through it all, but here's the highlights. An open letter to the CARB, the California Air Resources Board. Dear Sir or Madam, or batwangers, or paper hangers, good news, there is no climate crisis in California. This claim was verified by the scientific data that were compiled by the CO2 Coalition and the climate, a nonprofit organization with the goal of determining and propagating the facts regarding carbon dioxide and the climate. The key findings provided below stand in contrast to the climate crisis claims made in the March 1st Priority Climate Change Action Plan. And the California Climate Disclosure Rules, SB 253 and 261. Chamber of Commerce, the U.S. of America, 2024. More details can be found in the attached letter and appendix. Number one, a modest warming in California is beneficial and not a cause for concern. Globally, more people have died from the cold than the heat since 2000. You think? And man, and I'm telling you, Florida's looking better and better. I'm getting really tired of these Vermont winters.
I'm just getting tired of a lot of these Vermonters.
Yep, yipper.
Cupcakes, snowflakes, and Twinkies.
Oh, man. Well, thank God, Philo, we live in the Texas of Vermont, you know?
More or less.
Yeah, we're up here. They call it Northeast Kingdom for a reason. It's got nothing to do with kings or queens. It's because of this backwoods, rugged individualism, I guess.
It's going by the wayside, too.
Yeah, the more snowflakes that move up here.
Well, you know what has happened, Steve, and I've even heard this from some of our legislators at our last legislative breakfast.
Yeah.
But what's happening is we are the playground for Chittenden County.
Yeah.
They have their second homes here, so they don't want us to develop at all.
Yeah. Well, there was a thing. Harold Haynes. We used to call him he was the king of the Northeast Kingdom. He had lived here forever. He was born in mid-state, and he moved up here in like the 30s or 40s, Philo.
Yeah.
And he was a teacher, full-time school teacher, and I was nice enough to have him for a neighbor. He lived across Main Street from me, and me and Donnie, fire station Donnie, would help him decorate the common, the Christmas tree and stuff. And Harold was just the nicest guy you'd ever meet, man. And but he had this thing. He called it winter kill, where sometimes he said he'd sell the same house 4 or 5 times, you know, because people would move up here. They come up in the spring or the summer, and the little lady would say, "Oh my God, what a beautiful house. Let's buy it and move up here, Jasper." "Okay, honey, we'll move right up, Petunia." And then they get the first winter, and it's like, brrr, and the snow's like 5 feet deep. And so we called it winter kill. But anyways, Harold was a riot. Okay. 2, increase in ag production. The combination of lengthened growing season and from warming, increased CO2 has contributed to this increase. 3, CO2 is essential. Plants need it, sunlight, water, and nutrients to produce food and oxygen. Both are essential for human and animal lives. 4, CO2 is beneficial. Exposing plants to higher concentration increases their growth, food production, and drought resistance to the greens of the earth. Because they've taken core samples that go back millions of years, or hundreds of thousands of years, I should say, and the CO2 levels have been much, much higher than they are now. And California is in no danger of unusual drought. The annual rainfall has fluctuated greatly over the last 150 years, a slight decrease. Ski resorts are experiencing more snow. 21 of 22 resorts had increasing snowfall from 2012 to 2023. And I'll tell you, you know, I grew up skiing East Coast, and I'll tell you what, mister, for all of you ski Nazis out there, I'm telling you, if you ever get the chance, you have to ski the West Coast, especially the Sierras, man. When I went to Mammoth Mountain, the base lodge is at like 10,000 feet, okay? That means if you have like 2 beers at 10,000 feet, you get a wicked buzz going from the lack of oxygen, you know what I mean? And the ski, it's so deep, the 12 feet deep snow, it's crazy, man. And you could ski up there all week long and never hit the same trail twice, Philo.
Yeah.
It's wild, up in Inyo County, near the Nevada border up near Reno. Okay, California is in no danger of drowning. North Spit, California, has the highest rate of sea level rise by 0.005 meters a year, or 1.65 feet in 100 years, which is easily mitigated. A foot in 100 years. Less natural disasters over the years. Significantly reduced number of wildfires acres and burned were reported in the U.S. globally. California has infrequent tornadoes, no landfall hurricane from 1851 to 23, and no tropical depression from 1950 to 23. And tropical storms are rare in California, last 2 reported in 23 and 97. And lastly, air quality keeps getting better. The concentrations of major pollutants have decreased over the years. And speaking of which, guess who's burning again, Philo? Guess whose forests are burning again?
Canada?
Canada, yeah. They showed the jet stream is keeping it pushed, like up north of the St. Lawrence River.
Yeah.
But you could see it on the radar. It's crazy. And this loudmouth POS prime minister that they've got up there, he's talking about putting people in jail for like life terms if they don't, if they misgender people wrong. It's crazy.
You mean old Black Jack Shalek?
Yeah. It's like, what the hell? Get your people together, get your army and whatever, and ask for help from your buddies at NATO maybe, and helicopter them in and put the fires out, you fool. What the hell's wrong with you people?
Well, after the pandemic, I have lost a lot of faith in the rugged individualness of the Canadians. They really folded up like a cheap card table over the pandemic, you know?
Yeah. Well, it might take a lawsuit, Philo. You know what I mean?
I mean, some fought back, but then Trudeau comes out and says, if you don't take your trucks out of here, I'm going to freeze all your bank accounts.
We'll freeze your bank accounts, you dare. And
I don't understand this though, Steve. I occasionally watch some of their foolishness on YouTube.
yeah,
And the opposition in Canada right now is vociferously after him. I mean, they are really ragging on him
oh, I hope so.
very badly, and I don't know why they don't have a vote of no confidence.
Oh man, they got to get rid of him.
Yeah,
They got to stop these wildfires. What the hell?
they got to stop him.
Yeah,
He's probably starting them all.
yeah. There's a crazy wood matches. He's loose on the town. Take a whole pit of water just to cool him down. Fire, fire on the mountain. In conclusion, there is no climate crisis, and CO2 is essential for life on Earth. If you need any more details, the Coalition will be happy to respond to any inquiries you may have. This letter is signed by Gregory Wrightstone, Executive Director of the Coalition. Summary letter contains links, and Dr. who described the United Nations IPCC as one of the worst sources of dangerous misinformation, and was disinvited to speak before the UN's IMF, International Monetary Fund, on July 5th of last year, 25th rather. Yeah, no, Philo, you wouldn't think the United Nations would tamp down any real information, right?
No.
Perish the thought.
Yeah.
Pshaw. Pshaw.
Gosh, oh Willikers.
Yeah. The physicist believes that the objective science on climate has been sacrificed to politics. The preeminence of politics is all the worse because so much money has already gone to climate. We're talking about trillions of dollars, like this bonehead, these boneheads in Chittenden County, Little Vermont, with 600,000 people. We're going to go to electric vehicles. You're not going to be able to buy a gasoline-powered car after 2030, Philo.
Yep.
They're insane. And Joe too. We got to get them out of here. Get them, unless you get everybody together, especially like the Indians and Pakistanis and the Chinese who are still riding around in these friggin' two-cycle pedicabs, which is like people driving friggin' chainsaws. Two strokes, you mix oil with the gas. They're horribly inefficient engines. They wind out like crazy, but damn it, man, they pollute like you read about.
Yeah, I have to admit, there's two things that are going electric that I really actually support. It's not cars. Chainsaws and lawnmowers.
Lawnmowers, yeah, snowblowers too.
Oh, I haven't seen that one yet, but I got a little electric chainsaw. I love the thing.
Oh, my neighbor's got one too. Well, it's like more like a pruner.
Yeah, it's about 18 inches long.
Yeah, it's like a flashlight with a triangular chain on it.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Gotta tell you, I can cut a 5-inch tree down with that thing.
Cool.
Yeah, it's cool, is right. I like it.
Yeah, I'll have to borrow it, Philo.
Absolutely.
We're talking trillions of dollars that people don't want to hear. They've made $1 trillion mistakes. Concerns about such mistakes may have been what led to this disinvitation to speak before the international mofos. The CO2 Coalition reported. Dr. Clauser told the Epoch Times he had received an email indicating the IMF's Independent Evaluation Office Director, Pablo Moreno, did not want to talk to go forward that day. Oh, man, really? Stifling speech? Perish the thought. In an email, an IEO senior official told the Epoch Times that Clauser's speech has been postponed to recognize it into a panel discussion. We are working to reschedule it after the summer, the official added. Oh, yeah. In recent years, the International Economic and Monetary Agency has focused heavily on climate. Officials have laid particular stress on international carbon taxes. Yeah, see? Yeah. And this is why a lot of the younger kids, especially the younger males, are getting more conservative, and they're leaning to Trump because they realized that they don't want this World Economic Forum future, where you will own nothing, like Klaus Schwab says, you will own nothing and you will like it. No. The younger people, it turns out that, lo and behold, no matter what they've been taught all their school lives, it turns out that they actually want girlfriends and wives and kids and families and houses and a decent car, Philo.
Yeah.
You believe that?
It's a very complicated sort of subject in its many ways.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if a vote for Biden is a vote for this New World Order.
Yes, with Mr. Schwab, the future is ours.
Yeah, he will be your host today. We will take everything you have. In recent years, have focused heavily on climate. Officials have laid particular stress on carbon taxes. The latest international MOFO analysis finds that large emitting countries need to introduce a carbon, that would be us, okay? Not China, India, because they're developing countries, boys and girls. But us, the so-called rich countries, Germany, United States, France, England, the usual suspects that we can milk with impunity.
Yeah, because our pollution is down,
You think?
And the Europeans is down even more, but yet they want to nail us with a carbon tax, but not China and India, whose pollution has gone sky high.
Yeah, how's your batteries, Philo? You sound like it's scratchy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I think it's this transceiver.
Something's up. Wow. Anyways, we'll try and struggle through the rest of the show. Yeah, carbon tax, it rises quickly to $75 a ton in 2030. The agency's website on climate mitigation states. So there you have it, okay? Go to CaliforniaGlobe.com. The 1,600 scientists, you can read all about it. The article is by Katie Grimes, don't you know? And let's see, how about some news that you're not going to usually see in the news, Philo? Yeah. Marjorie Taylor Greene was going after that idiot who broke all the promises to become Speaker of the House, no Johnson. And she said, and she was down in the well of the Congress, and she's saying, and she was getting booed by all the Democrats and stuff, and she says, and some Republicans too, and she said, see, as for the people of the United States, this is your uniparty right here, because they'll fund plenty of money for war, they'll leave the border wide open for cheap labor, and so what did the news, the network news organizations call it, Philo, all except for Fox?
I'm not sure.
The Unity Party.
The Unity Party, my foot.
And they came out and they said, well, don't we want unity? Isn't this, a coalition of, right and left? Isn't unity what we want? It's like, no, my God, she said uniparty. She didn't say unity. You idiots. Yeah, and Biden came out. Yeah, man. And all but Fox ignored it. Biden says Americans have enough money last week. And he said, well, if the rent's too high, we just need to build more housing. Don't even mention the friggin' 10 to 20 million people you just let in here. You know what? In Massachusetts, Philo, you know what those people are getting?
More than us.
It's crazy. They get a free cell phone, all paid for, okay?
Wow.
They get three meals a day, culturally appropriate, okay? They get laundry and dry cleaning delivered daily, every day, to the hotel that they're staying at, the Flop House. It's insane. And they get $1,000 a month in walking around money.
Yeah, they have to buy their drugs somewhere.
This is insane. And for boys and girls who don't know about what Philo's ancestors and my ancestors came here, my grandmother was a WAP, which stood for without papers.
Yes.
It didn't have anything to do with Italians.
No.
No. She was Irish, but she had no papers, man. And we can't find her on any ship's manifest. But when they came here, when our ancestors came here, they came here with nothing, okay? If you were lucky and worked a couple jobs in your community, and people, after like 5 or 10 years, people knew that you were good for it, you could join the local Italian credit union or the Polish credit union, you know what I mean? And they would front you the money for a house or whatever. You know, if you were a good working stiff, they didn't get anything. That's what I'm saying. They didn't get any benefits. This is nuts, man. Oh, yeah. Let's see. Look at AstraZeneca has pulled their vaccine worldwide, Philo, and they say it's not linked to the worldwide lawsuit.
Not really, huh?
No.
I think maybe somebody's lying.
They even came out, the vaccine makers, remember when they came out, they said, this product is not licensed, it's for the prevention of disease.
Well, what is it licensed for then?
Yeah. What? Anyways, and the gimme grunts, all these welfare bums that we're getting, they're bringing in measles, polio, tuberculosis, leprosy. They've got an outbreak in leprosy in Florida, Philo, and you know who they're blaming it on?
Probably the white man, right?
No, better yet.
Oh.
It rolls up into a ball that you can play polo with.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
An armadillo.
No kidding.
They're blaming it on the armadillo. My buddy Pee Wee used to tell me they used to play armadillo polo in Texas.
Yeah.
They would hang off the edge of a truck or a Jeep or a Blazer, and they'd play polo with the armadillos. They were crazy. They were all high on meth, on speed. Yeah, and also, we're getting Rocky Mountain spotted fever, dengue fever, and malaria.
Oh no, not malaria.
Yeah, bad air. And they've got 659 known or suspected terrorists, they call them KSTs, crossed the border just this year, Philo.
Oh, wonderful. We should open up those borders some more, right?
659. Yeah, I mean, it worked out so good for the Tsarnaev brothers down in Boston, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Blew up the Boston Marathon. It killed one kid, tore the legs off I don't know how many other people. And they shot at cops. And
one of them got killed, right? And the other one's still in prison?
Yeah. One of them got run over, speed bump, the older one. He got run over by his younger brother who was fleeing the scene where they were throwing bombs, pipe bombs at the cops. And Dzhokhar Tsarnaev is still in prison. And the writers at Rolling Stone called him a tousle-haired, handsome youngster.
You know, I've never seen a magazine I've hated more now than Rolling Stone.
What the hell?
It's a rag.
What happened to him? I used to get them every freaking twice a month or whatever it was.
Yep.
Yeah, and so, and MTG, she wanted to defund the special counsel Jack Smith that's going after Trump because it turns out that he might have been appointed illegally. And after the stuff he did in Florida with those stupid boxes of records, he should be not only admonished, he should be thrown in jail. When the judge gets done with this, man, he's got some splaining to do. Yeah, and the omnibus, let's see. Oh, man. Let's see. And Oxford and Cambridge has been beaten down on democracy, populism, Philo. And Kharkiv, the Ukrainians They want out of NATO. They're trying to Trump-proof it. The defense, World Economic Forum, New World Order, there are no 500,000 new troops for a spring offensive, okay? There aren't anymore. All the people, all the smart people who didn't want their sons to get killed in this war, they sent their kids overseas. They took every penny they could get and sent the kids to Poland or whatever. And Poland is rounding up the young Ukrainian men right now and shipping them home for mandatory conscription, so we hear. And the Russians are going to take the Donbass and Luhansk and Kharkiv too. And the only troops mentioned about bringing in troops are from the United Kingdom. The European Parliament's supposed to vote this June. Oh, and I guess it happened today, Philo. This just came in earlier this morning that the Prime Minister of Czechoslovakia has been shot and he's in serious condition. And he's an anti-New World Order. He's an anti-Klaus guy, Philo.
Well, isn't it the Czech Republic now?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Czechoslovakia, I make that mistake myself. There is no Czechoslovakia anymore.
Well, they still call themselves that.
Yeah, the Czech Republic and Slovakia is another country.
Yeah. They're still across the river from each other.
Yeah.
And the Spain's Vox Party is part of the mega unit, the mega bloc, which is Make Europe Great Again. Go figure. They want to return to traditional values and get rid of the world Klaus and the World Economic Foundation and the European Union. And did you know we've been glorified all our lives? Remember when Franco died in 1975?
Yes.
For those of you who don't know, boys and girls, the younger kids, every Saturday Night Live, they used to come out and say, and this just in, General Francisco Franco is still alive. And because he was like the last fascist, they called him a fascist. Well, he wasn't so much a fascist, he was more of a traditionalist, it turns out. We've been spoon-fed a bunch of BS, Philo.
Yeah, well, Hitler supported him, and Hitler expected him to help him in World War II, and then he
didn't.
He said no. Spain would have been really run over then.
Yeah. Well, it turns out that the communists and the socialists were running amok in the 1930s, and they'd killed priests and nuns and landowners too. It was a full-blown revolution. They were getting arms from the Soviet Union, and they were getting help from our communists over here, including people like Ernest Hemingway. But they don't tell you that in school, boys and girls. There's a new book that came out by Jack Posobiec. It should be out any day now. It's called Unhuman, that details this stuff. Am I saying that the Spain's fascists were like nice people? No, but it was a civil war, mind you. And when you start killing nuns and priests, you know, in a Catholic country, that it's kind of like frowned upon. And Spain's been Catholic since forever. Since 1492, when they got rid of the Arabs. And today, just now, Biden flip-flopped and said he will give Israel the weapons, and he won't violate the 1974 Impoundment Control Act. And this just in too, Congress is going to put in a criminal referral for that Cohen guy. God, what's his name? Trump's ex-lawyer.
Oh, Michael Cohen.
Yeah, Michael Cohen, and that whore too.
Stormy Monday.
Yeah, Stormy Monday.
Stormy Daniels, yes.
Yeah, somebody says, well, you can't call her a whore. She's an adult film star.
Yeah, well, you know. She
has sex for money, okay? What do they call that? And don't say attorneys. That's the world's second oldest profession. Okay?
Yeah, I think the attorneys are dirtier, though.
Well, depends on their access to hot water, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and this 13-second video where Biden came out and said he'll debate Trump. What did he say? He said something like, "Get ready, pal," or something stupid like that.
I remember Louis Gohmert, what is he, disparaging his asparagus?
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen to Joe.
Yeah.
He's going to have his asparagus disparaged.
Man, oh man. So it turns out that in this 13-second Biden video, there were 8 edits in it.
Oh, I'm not surprised.
8 edits.
And we know how to do that too.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't notice it. I noticed it was a little jumpy, but I thought that was them trying to be like young and hip, you know what I mean? I didn't realize it was Joe stepping on his own dick. Yeah, and we got the inflation numbers out today and employment numbers. It turns out food, energy, trade were hotter than we expected, which means hotter, meaning not good. And the PPI, the Producers Price Index, went up some crazy amount, which is when the PPI goes up, the CPI goes up afterwards because they pass it on, the producers pass it on to the consumers, which are you and me, okay? And Wall Street, the 30% of Americans who own stock in Wall Street are doing great. The 70% of the rest of us are eating crap. And October, November, and December, they goosed the economy and added to the misery index. And in 88 through 98, Philo, they changed the formula for inflation, and they dropped the mortgage payments from the formula. They dropped the auto payments, and house prices are up 300% now if you use the old formula. 300% from what they were just 3 years ago. Good going, Joe. Great. You call it Bidenomics? No, it's more like Bidenitis. They call it demand shock. And since the 1950s, we've lost something like 150 trillion in the gross domestic product, and we've switched to a service economy. And if that wasn't bad enough that we lost all our manufacturing, and me and Philo used to work in manufacturing, it turns out that now we've gone to a service economy. Now we're even worse. We're in a part-time service economy.
Yeah, we could thank Reagan for starting that.
Yeah.
Reagan started that. He said we were going to have to switch from a industry-based to a service-based economy, because he didn't want to have to tell all these companies that they had to upgrade their facilities.
Yeah, and there was a voluntary part of that too, because a lot of the bigger outfits, they could pollute freely in Mexico and China.
Exactly.
Where they'd have to build treatment plants here in the US of A. And so we had plenty of help from the Democrats.
Oh yeah, they're all dirty.
Yeah. And and Joe came out. He said that he's going to build 500 million new charging stations. Now, how he's going to do that between now and next January is beyond me, but this I'd like to see, because, everybody I know would gladly pay $60,000, $80,000 for an electric car, and all they're waiting for are the charging stations.
Everybody must get stoned.
Yeah, everybody must get charged.
Boy, are we going to get charged too.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's a good name for it. Is that what they're calling it these days?
Yes, we are going to get charged.
And Joe came out and he said, because his poll numbers are down in the dumpster, and what's his face? Trump at that rally in Wildwood. Did you see that? It was insane, okay? For those of you who don't know the Garden State, or don't know New Jersey, right? The very bottom of the state, we're talking like Atlantic City's about halfway down the state, right, Philo?
Yeah.
the very bottom of the state. We're talking the end of the line where the road ends. I mean, this is it. The Garden State Parkway ends in Wildwood. I mean, there's no other way to get there. You can go up the road a little and then take the turnpike to Philadelphia. But to get 100,000 people in there is insane, man. But they did it. People waited 7 hours to see Trump. It's crazy. So Trump came out and said, and he was bad-mouthing these electric cars. So what did Joe do? Joe came out a day or two later and says, you can buy any car you want, any kind of car you want. Well, he's lying. He's lying because they're not going to allow any new combustion engines in cars. He's just flat-ass lying. And he said you can buy any kind of car you want, you know, which is like Henry Ford, as long as it's an EV. Henry Ford used to say you can get any color Model T you want as long as it's black. I mean, that's the way it was. Henry Ford just didn't think you needed, it was ostentatious to have a red car or a blue car. And so lo and behold, you know, people either painted their car whatever they wanted, or got a Chevrolet or an Oldsmobile or some other kind of car. Yeah, it's nuts, man. It's nuts. Oh, and here in Vermont too, they've changed the wake lakes, Philo.
Huh.
Okay, we're back. Man, oh man. Thunderstorms.
Well,
holy moly, it is pouring outside.
Good effects for the show, Steve.
Yeah, unbelievable. I had to run outside and roll up the windows. When I rolled into the studio, it was like sunny and hot. I didn't even want to leave the dog in the car, or should have parked in the shade. But anyways, luckily I left the drapes open over here near the engineering booth, and I heard it on the roof. It was coming down so heavily. But anyways, back to the news that you don't snooze. Biden flip-flopped. He's going to send Israel the weapons. Anyways, Ukraine says they need hundreds of billions to win the war. Okay, sure. And they're calling these kids Arab Spring Break. And did you see those kids at Columbia, Philo? They were demanding water.
Yeah, don't even get me started on that bunch. They're protesting, they're occupying buildings illegally, and they want to be catered to.
Oh yeah.
Bring in our water, bring in our food.
We want some gluten-free food. We're on a hunger strike. Well, this is what kills me, okay? That building, there are no buildings that aren't built without water, Philo.
That's right.
They wanted bottled water.
Oh, they must. Well, they're entitled, you know.
Oh man. And New York City has some of the best, New York City along with Boston has some of the best drinking water on the friggin' planet. I mean, the drinking water in Boston and in New York City is 100 times better than Burlington. It's crazy. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh man. And Hamas holes, and they, along with the UN office of the official coordinators of human affairs, OCHA, O-C-H-A, has revised their fatality figures, Philo.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, it turns out that instead of 14,000 dead children, they said now it's less than 7,800. Dead women, they said there was 9,500, and it's under 5,000. It's crazy. Yeah, and out of that, what do I said, 1 million at Wildwood? No, it was 100,000 people at the Trump rally. Out of that 100,000 people, there was not one fight, Philo. Not one fight, not one, parking lot scuffle, not anything, It's crazy. And old Joe, the president, the actual president, who supposedly got 81 million votes, can't even get together a crowd of, 50 people.
Wouldn't matter. He wouldn't know what planet he was on anyway.
Yeah, really. Oh, and there's there's a slight drop in Vermont overdoses, Philo.
Really?
Yeah, you think it's because we're running out of junkies, maybe?
I'll tell you a story about that from Facebook after the show.
They claim that it's because of the damn what the hell?
Fentanyl?
No, the Narcan.
Oh, okay.
That they're saving lives. It's because of Narcan and treatment, and I think they're just running out of junkies. And also another thing. What was I gonna? This one just came in today. Out of 73 lakes in Vermont, Philo. Where did I write that down? Out of 73 lakes where you can have motorboats and water ski behind them,
Yeah.
they've dropped it down from 73 to 30. So there's only 30 lakes that you can water ski or wakeboard behind a boat.
Huh.
How's that for getting rid of the fun?
Yeah, well, okay.
We don't want anybody having fun out there, mister.
Hey,
By Jesus.
Lake Salem, I remember when 3 people in my family did some wakeboarding. I think it was 2009. It was fun, even in Salem. I mean, I still have the video of it.
Huh.
It was called Wakeboarding on Lake Salem.
Yeah. They don't have any rocks out there, do they?
Nah. Nope, it's pretty shallow.
That's a good thing. The rocks can really ruin your whole day.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. So anyways, I think that's it for the other news. Oh, there's been another intruder into RFK's home, Philo.
Oh, well, we can't give him any protection though, can we?
No, and Biden still refuses to give him Secret Service protection.
I know.
What a mean, vindictive, nasty old geezer this guy is.
Yes, he's not even good enough to be called an old goat.
No.
I'm an old goat, for God's
Yeah.
sakes.
I mean, everybody thought, oh, he's just a friendly old bumbling grandpa. No, he's a mean, nasty old man. He's got that bust of RFK Sr. in his office, but he won't give his kid Secret Service protection like it's any skin off his nose. It's insane. Oh, and speaking of Jews, years ago they have these mini documentaries, that they put on Turner Classic Movies.
Yeah.
They had a good one. I can't find it. I've got to look for it. It's about a Jew who financed the revolution, who helped finance the Revolutionary War here in the colonies, right? And, excuse me, his name was Chaim Solomon. And I got to get some more info and report on that. Maybe I can find that documentary. Yeah, another intruder in RFK's house. No problem. Unbelievable. Let's see. Yeah, according to Joe. Oh, here we are. This is typical of states with Democratic secretaries of state, right, Philo?
Yeah.
Because we're not going to have clean elections until we go to paper ballots and until we clean up the voter rolls, get rid of all the dead people, It's the old joke: vote early, vote often.
Yeah.
If the dead can vote, so can you. Here's a typical one here, because they found people who were still on the voter rolls at 120 years old in Michigan.
Okay, Steve, last but not least.
Okay, last but not least, in North Carolina, there were 220,000 fraudulent or illegal voter registrations in state that had no SS number, no driver's license, etc., according to their election integrity board. It's crazy. Oh, and I didn't even get to the Epic Times news. Well, once again, we got soaking wet. I'm too stupid to bring a raincoat. You wasted a perfect little hour of your life watching this stupid show. So hopefully, we'll see you again next week. Inshallah, good Lord willing, the creek don't rise. So until then, get down on your hands and knees in the men-only mosque, snip the bum of the guy in the man dress in front of you, head east towards the meteorite in Mecca and go, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Snack Bar, open bar.
And of course, a happy Deus Magnus Est to everyone.
Polling data has been wrong all along. We have the strongest economy in the world. Let me say it again, in the world.
Although GDP last week was far short of expectation.
No president's had the run we've had in terms of creating jobs and bringing down inflation. It was 9% when I came to office.
Right.
9%.
People are spending more on food and groceries than they have at any time really in the past 30 years. I mean, that's a real day-to-day pain.
If you take a look at what the men people have, they have the money to spend.
Well, they do.
Back in Catholic school, my teacher, Riley, last name. That was his name, Riley, last name. His first name was Baba O. That class was a teenage wasteland. I wrote a song about it. Gave it to my friend Townsend, last name. He was in a band called Who. I'm not kidding, that's not a joke. The band was called Who. People used to say, what's the band? Who? Who? No, who? It's like that old comedy sketch that I wrote with my partner, Lou Costello.
You see urology complication as much as 41%, but some series show up to 80%. I mean, that's a lot. But the
40 to 80% complications.
We didn't mention on that slide is that same series of patient who had 80% complications answered to the question, would you do that over again? 100% said yes. So it tells you why.
Regret is rare.
Although haters will say differently.
Haters.
It doesn't matter to us, right?
Yeah, because you're not getting it.
We have to be open and to listen to it, of course, and to help to understand why, and then to help moving backwards with some surgical options sometimes, if we can.
SOC 7, SOC 8 says, think about treating kids at age 14 with hormones, unless there are significant reasons not to do that or to do it earlier. Honestly, 13 and a half, 14 is where I think many places feel comfortable to do that. It means that is an age where most experts feel comfortable that many children have the capacity to consent for treatment.
Consent.